Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to some of you out there in CalJam land. I've got a very special guest on the line today that I met at Truth About Cancer, which was an amazing event. John Hewlett, good morning. And where I don't even know where you live.
Well, I live in east in the mountains of Park City, Utah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Right.
Yeah.
With all the other rich people.
Today I'm in beautiful southern Utah, down by Zion's Park. So,
well, that sounds beautiful to me. And as soon as we're done with this, we're going down to the beach, and I'm going to go visit my little bit of heaven here in California. But you have a very interesting product. When I first saw it, I was kind of very intrigued, obviously, because of the constituents and what it actually, you got to explain all this to me. And that's why I like to do these podcasts, because I learn more about this stuff than anybody else and not get asked the questions I want to ask. But Cardio Miracle, and its basic premise is that it helps the body produce more nitric oxide. And as we all know, not everybody, but I knew that it's a big vasodilator, and it's also a key ingredient that's in Viagra, which obviously vasodilatation. Is that a word, vasodilatation? I was thinking that in the morning.
Vasodilator is one of the words. I think the Tatians would probably work with it.
Yeah. I make up words all the time. I think I should start my own dictionary. But vasodilation is obviously what, increases, it helps with ED in men. And that's a big, big issue. So obviously I'm intrigued with that. I like, anything that will increase libido. And one of the things I brag about is that my testosterone is through the roof. I mean, the average, well, the thing is, it's because I do everything right. It's not like it's not any miracles. The average, or I think the bell curve for normal testosterone is anywhere from 300 to 900, and mine just came in at like 1300. So I'm way high, and I came up with some, it was a positive that I was out of the normal range, but I'm thinking that's just because everybody else is so poor. So there's a lot of questions I want to ask. The other thing I noticed is that I took it before surfing, like you said, and I noticed I had a lot more stamina, and I'm going to say the strength. And I've already pretty good with that, but I just noticed it increased my time in the water.
Recovery,
which is the thing. And I'm in anything that's going to enhance performance, because as you get older, you need every little crutch you can get, especially when I'm out there competing with 16-year-old kids and I can paddle circles around some of these kids, but that's because I do a lot of stuff right. So I want to implement this in my lifestyle. I told Jane to order a jug of it, or whatever you call it, a can of it, so that I can have it, because I've already gone through all the samples that you gave me, because that's just the way I am about stuff. So how did you first get into this to begin with? I mean, what was it what was the light bulb that went off in your head?
Well, the light bulb was basically, I went in the hospital for a routine appendectomy, and they clipped a vein, sent me home. Didn't know that I clipped a vein, collapsed that night in the middle of the night. Next thing I knew, I had 8 paramedics carrying me out of the second story of my house. And I was in an ambulance, 2:30 in the morning, flying down the streets of Salt Lake City to the hospital. And then having my medical experience, our system tried to kill me 3 times inadvertently. The old third leading cause of death and medical error.
Well, it's really first cause, but we'll stay with third right now.
You're probably right. So,
well, the problem is that what they do is they palliate people with their symptoms, and they don't really address the problem. So nobody, they don't change their lifestyle. They just take a pill, and then they end up having a heart attack or get cancer because they followed the medical model. So it perpetuates all the other problems that people see.
So for your physician and chiropractic friends, your health professionals, essentially, I went in for a routine appendectomy. They clipped a vein. I came back in. They gave me the wrong medication. I almost suffocated. Then they wanted to, my EKG went crazy because I had a family history of heart disease. And so they wanted me to go and do the lithium CAT scan with the radioactive dye. And at the last minute, I just said, you know what, I don't want to have this done. And that caused a big fervor in the hospital. And long story short, with some essential oils and a little bit of prayer, the bleeding stopped. And when I got out of the hospital, or I was getting out of the hospital, the chief cardiologist, who tried to prescribe me Luxem in the midst of all of this, Luxem's a blood thinner. I'm bleeding in, and the top cardiologist comes in, didn't even read my file, and was going to put me on an IV of a blood thinner. So all of those things kind of set me to a point that I didn't have a lot of confidence in the practice of medicine. And so I decided at 55, I better find out new answers. And so I did the research and found out that nitric oxide in 1998 had been awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine, primarily for its impact on cardiovascular disease and atherosclerosis. Now, at the same time, interesting enough, to your other point, Viagra is being developed synthetically, which was to essentially signal the body's nitric oxide, which is a key element in every regulatory system of the body. Nitric oxide runs the systems of the body. They're the traffic controller, they're the traffic cop, they're the vasodilator. They keep the arteries moving, they keep the blood moving, they keep the ratios in whatever basis of homeostasis that they can. Viagra essentially synthetically sends out to the entire body, send all the nitric oxide to the genitals.
How does it do that though? I mean, I'm intrigued. I mean,
it's just part of it's part of the ingredients, synthetic ingredients that basically mimic the nitric oxide stimulation. And so essentially it sends out kind of like a red flag alert that says, send the nitric oxide to the genitals. It's crazy. So that happens. And then you have, of course, sometimes they talk about the 4-day erection. I don't think anyone's ever seen that one. But the reality is it's depleting the body as it's sending it to that area. So it performs, but the side effects are significant. Kind of the side effects would probably stack up there with some of the statin drugs, some of the things, because of essentially depleting essential things in the body. So what the nitric oxide won the Nobel Prize for is that if you took arginine, an amino acid, and you took that, ingested it either as a supplement or through meat, shellfish, the nitrates of beets and spinach and kale, all of those stimulate two different pathways of nitric oxide stimulation in the arterial wall. And the arterial wall is lined by a one-cell thick cell known as the endothelium. And the endothelial lining lines all of your arteries, all of your lymph system, vascular system. It also lines all of your organs. And so when you take something like arginine, citrulline, ornithine, carnitine, or you take a nitrate like beets, kale, spinach, it stimulates your own body to produce nitric oxide like you're a teenager, like you're in your 20s. Because as you get older, your basic nitric oxide, unless you're a high energy guy like yourself, it starts diminishing significantly, like 5% every decade, it starts diminishing.
And what do they attribute that the reduction in the production of nitric oxide in the body as you age? I mean, is it due to
just aging, the aging process? I think toxic air, toxic water, GMOs, hereditary,
just an overall bioaccumulation of all the crap that we live in. Also, I just think the American diet's just hideous too. So I can see that being how many people eat beets and I mean, I do every day. I mean, I juice and Vitamix. That's 2/3 of my meal come out of a Vitamix, and people wonder why my numbers were so good. It's because I eat food and not crap. And most people's diets are loaded with calories and crap, but they don't eat any food that has any food value to it. So now, real quick before we go any further, I really didn't, and I should have addressed this from the very. What is your background? You seem very, very educated in the health and the health sciences. Are you a doctor or?
Well, actually, no. I at a young age, I decided to essentially not go to law school and go in the financial services business because I was selling and doing financial planning in college. And when I started making more than the president of the university in 1975, I decided I might as well just move on and get into financial services. So for about 30 years, I was one of the top financial advisors and planners in the country, top of the $1 million round table, sold millions and billions of dollars worth of insurance, did estate planning, raised billions of dollars for charity. And then but my father had died, Billy, at 62, my uncle at 57, my cousin at 49, all of heart disease. So I had a genetic heart disease issue. And because I was a workaholic and didn't live in California and learned how to surf like you, I, went from being a good high school athlete to, becoming essentially a workaholic and not in very good shape and condition. So I had I had a major heart incident that I just kind of ignored. And then I had this appendectomy, and that almost killed me in the hospital when they tried to do me in a couple of times with the wrong medications and the wrong advice. So I came out of the hospital at 55, and I said, I'm not going to have quadruple bypass. So I've got to find out if there's a solution naturally. So that was about 10 years after the Nobel Prize was awarded. I was turned on to nitric oxide by a friend who was a former professional baseball player. And then I flew to Palo Alto, which was kind of the tip of the spear. Stanford's cardiovascular research and others were pioneering, as well as Louis Ignarro, who won the Nobel Prize, one of three at UCLA. So California was kind of the heartbeat of nitric oxide research from 1998 going forward. And I discovered a nitric oxide supplement in a direct sales company. And within 60 days, my blood pressure went to normal and I was off medication. So I said, this is more important than selling insurance and saving people millions of dollars. So I essentially became what Jeff Hayes and Patrick Gentempo refer to me as the Johnny Appleseed of nitric oxide. So for the last 14 years, I've been talking about it, eat, drink, and sleeping.
How many years?
Arguably 14.
14?
So for 14 years, I've been.
I'm surprised our paths have never crossed. That's kind of like mind bending to me because I've been around for 35 and, this seems like a really amazing topic to me. So that just a light bulb went off again. So this is going to be great for high blood pressure too, because if you can,
that's the Nobel Prize basically said in the document. See again, as you know, Bobby, from Billy from
I have a cousin Bobby, but Billy, Bobby, Tommy, Joey. I go by anything.
From the conspiratorial side of big pharma not wanting natural solutions out there.
They don't do that. Come on.
Nitric oxide's at the top of the list because it essentially helps with everything, every function of the body. And it's only been through super beats talking about it and advertising, spending millions, which is a very small part of the answer. It's part of the answer, but it's
what is super beats?
Well, super beets are one of the products that have been advertised on television a lot that talks about drinking beet juice. And so they've done a good job raising the awareness that there's a connection to blood pressure. There's a connection to erectile dysfunction. There's a connection to energy. And so what I did is I spent 6 years with a traditional sales company, became one of their top ambassadors, knew more about it than anybody, but then they wouldn't improve the product. And as the science has come forward, there's now almost 200,000 clinical studies and articles about the benefits of nitric oxide. And it normally takes 20 years to get from the lab to the public. And so we're in the 23rd year now since the Nobel Prize, and the word's finally getting out. And thanks to your friends, Jeff Hayes and Patrick Gentempo. Jeff Hayes was my neighbor 30 about 7-8 years ago. I took my nitric oxide supplement to them, and they started taking it. And 2 years ago, Patrick interviewed me on Supplements Revealed, and the response was so mind-boggling that Patrick Gentempo, who you know is one of the great,
of course, he's one of my close friends. We both have the same haircut.
Patrick said to me, after the end of my interview, he said, this was the most enlightening interview I've ever had. I had no idea. And he ordered my product for his mother, his brother, everyone he knows. And 3 months later, he said to me at Jeff's house, he said, if I only could take one supplement, I would take yours of all the supplements in the world. So that was a great compliment coming from somebody like Patrick. So I'm a self-taught 14-year decently intelligent person who has devoted my life to understanding the practical aspects of what nitric oxide can do for the human condition. And the research is staggering. It really is.
So you also mentioned it helps with lymphatic drainage. It also opens the vascularity to all your organs. I mean, I'm big on, we do PMF here, which obviously helps microcirculation, which is super important. I use it for everything from cancer to, Alzheimer's. I'm big on the whole hyperbaric stuff. These are things that I implement in my life just to maximize.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is another tool that we can use to open up. I don't know if you read Thomas Cowan's book. Have you read his book, Human Heart, Cosmic Heart too?
No, I
I
haven't.
think that would be an amazing book for you to read. He's a great writer. He's one of my favorite writers.
I've listened to him before, but I haven't
Yeah, but
read
he
that
just
book.
talks about we got heart disease all wrong. He even says the heart's not even a pump, and he thinks it's all about the microcirculation. So if this
That's
product,
true.
as you say, opens up the microcirculation, then I think we could really put a big ding in all these people that have heart issues. Because I think the problem is most people don't get enough grounding. They don't get enough exercise, obviously. So they're not opening up those channels of microcirculation, which is creating stagnation, and that's going to increase blood pressure and the whole cascade of events for that, because they get high blood pressure, they're on our meds for that, and then we start them on multiple medications and statins, which I feel are garbage.
Right.
And then people are basically sick, not because of a shortage of all these drugs. It's because they're not living congruent to the way God designed us to live. And I mean, I'm a big on grounding. I don't know where you're at with that, but I feel
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, there's a certain vibration of the planet that helps us keep that microcirculation going. And I mean, that surfing, I'm immersed in the amniotic fluid of life, which is the ocean. It's a great source of grounding for me. And then people don't exercise, they're sedentary, and then they eat shit that clogs all their arteries up. So this looks like a great product. But let me ask you this question. What other constituents are in the product? And I should have looked at this beforehand, but
that's all right. No.
I had a night from hell last night. I had to go pick up.
Fine.
I had to go to 2 different airports to pick up 2 different people on both extremes of Southern California. So I got home at 2.
Well, one of the things, Billy, the reason I left the direct sales company, even though I became a millionaire producer with them, but I'd made a lot more money in the financial world before that. So I was doing it for the cause, but I started my own company because I felt like there was a need to have the amino acids with the nitrates, which is the beet powder, et cetera. So we have 5-6 types of organic beets, carrots, coconut water, blueberries, raspberries.
So it's all food-based stuff. It's not
all
a bunch
food
of
based.
Yeah, that's amazing.
All non-GMO. I have 53 ingredients. It virtually replaces 80% of a person's supplement cabinet. And with the nitric oxide, that you would understand, when you get this opening of the arterial wall or the endothelial lining, that the receptivity, we believe and are trying to, and are proving in several ways, that the absorbability of all the other nutrients that you take are enhanced by like 80% absorption versus 20%.
Well, of course, if you can get where it needs to get, it's going to help. I mean, it's probably, you got the microcirculation closed down, you're not going to get it like to where you need it, especially your brain, which is one of the biggest areas that we're seeing so many issues with people with cognitive issues. And that, I think that has a lot to do with, I mean, there's studies even in chiropractic that show if we can put a curve in somebody's neck, we can increase blood flow to the brain upwards of 225%. And then if you use this product, you could even do it more, and then feed it all the, all the superfoods. I try to get
nutrients. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do to biohack the body to increase performance, and people, it's not anything outlandish. It's just using food and exercise and just general lifestyle things they can do. So go ahead.
I common sense, and the common sense was you hit one of the key things that really hasn't been stated enough is the nitric oxide is the key to stimulate a 5 times greater contraction in the lymphatic system.
You got to read that book, bro. You got to read that book because you'll be blown away. Thomas Cowan's book.
We'll order it today, but the reason the performance for athletes has been off the charts. Now people say, well, I'll just go take some arginine. Well, there's some clinical data that if you just increase nitric oxide without buffering the nitric oxide, you actually can increase your free radicals, the peroxynitrite. And so one of the things that we did, and we proved in the lab of the top in nitric oxide studying professor Thaddeus Smolinski, University of Ohio, he tested our product and published it 2 years ago, that we extend nitric oxide with this formula up to 24 to 36 hours, where most arginine, beets, et cetera, increase nitric oxide for 2 to 4 hours. We proved in the lab at the cellular basis that it sustained nitric oxide expression over 24 hours. And so from that, and then we also, which was a measurement I wasn't aware of, that we lowered the free radical by over 50%. And he was shocked. He said, I've never seen anything that does that. And I think in a future podcast, you could have Stanford Graham, who you met, our superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Later, Stanford, working at 59 to break the world's record in the mile run, knocking off a 4:30 mile at 59 years old. He's seen his performance, he's seen his pulse drop, he's seen his recovery enhanced, and that's because of this lymphatic situation, what you experienced the other day, just surfing. We have people who in their first couple of doses are saying they feel like they've got the wind at their back and they can recover in half the time. So they can push themselves to new limits and new levels of performance because of the 24/7 nitric oxide and then the lymphatic response. And so, there's and we're delighted to share this science.
Uh-oh. Hold on, we got a little glitch in the action here. We lost you for a minute though. If you could retrace, can you hear me?
Yeah. So what I was saying, yes, I can hear you. So we've had some of the top experts, Patrick Gentempo, Robert Scott Bell, Ty Bollinger, Mike Adams tested it in his lab. Christiane Northrup thinks it's the greatest thing in the world for women, both for libido and for pleasure and for cardiovasculars.
What do you mean by pleasure?
Nice.
Explain pleasure.
Well, pleasure means when you're improving microcapillary circulation and sensitivity, things are going to feel a little better. And so the microcapillary and the inflammatory issue in microcapillaries, which is the starting point of most chronic illness, is what nitric oxide heals. That's what it does. It fixes that and it attacks the inflammatory situation. And two of my 53 ingredients is astaxanthin and turmeric, which then also help in the inflammation. So we've tried to cover as much as possible in one simple little drink that you can drink a couple of times a day, and the blood chemistry numbers are fantastic. And so
I just been doing it once a day. You advocate twice a day.
Well, twice.
Oh, come on.
It's based upon if it's a maintenance situation, then once a day is fine. But for people who are looking for more performance or trying to work on a chronic situation, then 2 or 3 doses a day makes sense. And then of course their body weight. And as you know, and probably have talked about, stress and fear are the 2 greatest depletions of vitamin D and nitric oxide. And so in these crazy times, I mean, you go out and drive the freeways for 3 hours last night. And
yeah, that's what I
did. Your nitric oxide's dropping. So you should be taking one of our single serves while you're driving around, and you're going to feel a lot better.
Well, I'm taking one before I surf today. I need to get wet today. I had a little, stressful night.
So I don't know if your producer put the link up. We did a special.
Oh, we'll get it all linked up. Yeah, he's got all the info.
Right, but if they go to cardiomiracle.com and put in DeMoss 15, we give them a special introductory situation, or we have, of course, a page and a link that you'll be able to send out to your followers that'll make a special offer. And we back it with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Go get the blood work. If your blood work doesn't improve, which we always see that it does.
Yeah, I like objective measurements.
This is the beginning of
the beginning of what?
Yeah, the beginning of a new conversation. This is the beginning of a new relationship, and we're so honored that you would have me on today. And we look forward for you to have Stan Graham and Brian Ingram, our superstar athletes of our group. They're seeing athletic performance off the charts, and this is the Lamborghini of nitric oxide, and yet at a very, very affordable price, a couple of bucks a day.
So my question for you is, I don't know. I asked Jane to order me some. Did we get an order in?
I think so, but also our staff person who's just up the road from you is supposed to deliver some to you, to your house. She lives nearby, and so she knows you, Christy Simoneau. I don't know if you remember Christy.
I would remember her face. My name recognition isn't like, you know,
she worked with Patrick Gentempo, so you might have known her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so we're getting you some. So we got to take care of you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be your guinea pig out here in the water.
Exactly.
I'm around paddle circles around most of these kids that are like I play in a band, and the guitar player is 16 years old, and he came in the other night and he goes, "Oh, I'm tired." I go, "Dude, I'm like 4 times older than you and I worked all day and I'm not tired." So I don't know what it is. I think it's just people don't take care of themselves, you know? And I like anything that's especially nutrition. I was a nutritionist before I was a chiropractor. I get in trouble for chiropractor sometimes because I talk about nutrition, which to me sounds like you're a
Seems
moron.
like
Okay. Yeah, because I mean,
exactly.
as I always say, in my own regard, is that innate intelligence wants you to eat healthy food, not doesn't want you just to get adjusted and eat a bunch of crap. And I don't care what people think. I'm at that age, 63, where I don't give a shit anymore. When because I'm coming from far, I'm just trying to help people live healthier lifestyles. And I mean, people see that I'm still doing a lot of things. I'm still helicopter skiing and doing things that most people wouldn't do it even at 40 or something. And I never, ever, 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 ever get sick. I mean, I got some mental health issues, but those are different reasons for it's just living in this crazy ass world. But I'm looking at anything I can do to stay young, you know what I'm saying, and be able to do all the things that I've done for my life. And when I was introduced to your product at the show, I think it's like it was a divine intervention for me, because I'm always into like I'm taking all these other amino acids that I take before I surf. I mean, anything that I can do, I wear, the Vox patches on my arm, which helps with balance. And so like I was in the Marshall Islands wearing the patch, and there was one day I surfed literally 7 hours straight, which I guarantee you not a lot of people do that at my age.
Sure.
And the guys in the boat were waiting for me because you had to take a boat out to the break, and they sit there and watch you surf all day to make sure you don't drown or something.
Sure.
And the one thing I didn't know is they were both alcoholics, and they only brought so much beer. They didn't expect me to stay out for. So they were jonesing for beer, and I would paddle. He goes, "Dude, we got to go back." I go, "I'm not going back. I flew all the way here to surf. It's your problem. You're the friggin' junkie." And every time I would come by, I would just smile at them and just paddle out. So anything that I can use to kind of enhance that is always interesting.
Well, you're gonna love this. This will be your go-to. I have people who said, they skied 15, 20,000 vertical feet, and they said they still weren't tired. They were shocked. Right. I mean, guys in their 60s doing stuff that they hadn't done since their 40s. And so and I've had Ironmen in their competition go from 170th ranked to top 10 from their performance. So we're not talking about the slim little 1%. Stan Graham talks about the fat edge of competition, that we're seeing stuff like 5-10% improvement in PR times.
And what about like also like, I mean, there's a lot of objective ways to measure this. Like if you've got a personal best with weightlifting, say at 210 bench, and then you take this stuff and you're doing 230 all of a sudden, is that stuff?
I'll tell you, well, that's what we say. Absolutely. I have a guy who was a chiropractor in Southern Utah, and he was a deadlifter, and he was 505. He was deadlifting 505. I gave him the product. A week later, went back. He says, "What in the hell is in this stuff?" He said, "I'm lifting 565." And so yeah, we see that, but a lot of it is in the fact that you're getting better oxygenation.
Of course, that's the whole thing, man.
The VO2 max, we've proven at several levels, is between 17 and 25% improvement on this supplement. And then the recovery is what's stunning, is that we have people who finish an Ironman, and usually they'd be crippled for 5 days. They're on the bike the next day. They're like shocked in the recovery. So the recovery is huge. And often they'll say to me, "Well, John, it's not just the product. I have to work harder." I said, "It's the product that allows you to push yourself harder and recover faster."
No, you said it's oxygenation, bro. I mean, the thing is, your body needs to produce energy, and it produces it from oxygen. So, I mean, I just three more things pop in my head. Obviously, cancer doesn't like oxygen. It doesn't want good microcirculation. So this could be everything from, and again, I'm not saying it's a cure. That's what the thing is, that we always get in trouble for saying this product cure. No, what it does is enhances the body's own innate
supports.
Exactly. And the same thing with chiropractic. Chiropractic doesn't cure anything. What it does, it removes interference so you can express at a higher level your potential. But same thing with diabetes.
We've seen the chiropractic adjustment last longer. We've seen that it holds longer. And there's no question. One of the reasons I have organic beets and organic carrot is it helps enhance insulin receptivity at the reception level. So we see the numbers for the diabetics go down. We're seeing A1Cs dropping like in shocking types of things because of the combination of the anti-inflammatories. And back to your dreaded C word, one of the things that you can look up, and you can look up any chronic condition and nitric oxide and vitamin D, and you'll always find a deficiency. But what the key part in cancer is the nitric oxide does have an impact on strengthening the T cells' ability to function at optimum levels.
Wow.
And then we have therapeutic vitamin D3, and our researchers are now proving that it's probably many times more absorbable taking together with nitric oxide stimulation than taking it on its own. So a couple of thousand of IUs is performing better than 10,000 when you're combining it with nitric oxide stimulation at the same time, because it's opening up the endothelial wall to the mitochondria. And we're seeing the blood serum levels of vitamin D go up precipitously for people who are low.
And like, let's just take for an example, high blood pressure. I mean, obviously that's something you can monitor every day. How long does it take for the average person to see a response in lowering of their blood pressure?
Sometimes a couple of days,
Oh,
sometimes a week.
Okay.
If it's chronic hypertension, it might take several months. But the results, I mean, the Nobel Prize was awarded for its impact on cardiovascular function. So you will see in 30 or 60 days, significant differences in oxygenation. And that's another thing to talk about, the pathogen that everyone's worried about. We have literally, you can take your little oxygen sensor on your finger and you can see a difference in a day after several doses. We've had people go from 80s, even mid 70s up back to normal on the oxygen, which is a very important thing when you're being diagnosed for something that probably doesn't exist. That's related.
That's my opinion. I don't think there's anything different.
Well, that relates to pneumonia, and then they give you a protocol that's very dangerous and makes it worse, and then they put you on a ventilator and things are lights out. Well, if you just keep your oxygen level high and then you heavily infuse your body with C, D, magnesium, zinc, and nitric oxide, you'll weather through whatever it is that's out there in most cases. So building the immune system, supporting the immune system is actually the number one thing that nitric oxide and this vitamin D3 combination does. And D3 is a really important part of it. But
yeah. There's no question.
So, but they go hand in hand. And actually the guy who did our study at the endothelial level, he was the expert who 3.5 years ago published the definitive paper on vitamin D's impact on cardiovascular disease. That's Tadeusz Smolinski. He's the guy who I went to and took this product, and he says, well, if it doesn't work, I'll let you know. He called me back in 60 days. He says, this is astonishing. I've never seen anything like this. And so he ended up publishing a paper saying that this was the longest, most sustained, safest expression of nitric oxide he had ever witnessed in his lab, world famous lab, and the fact that we reduced the free radicals at the same time, which in my opinion, Billy, is part of the impact of the brain health and the capillaries in the brain. Because the neurological people didn't even believe the lymphatic system went above the shoulders until 2017. And so once and yet, chiropractors and massage therapists knew about it decades ago. But, the fact is, if you're helping to heal the inflammatory situation, which is clogging up the microvascular system and clogging up or diminishing the contraction ability of the lymphatic system, and you help improve and support both of those, only good things can happen.
All right, last question, then I'll let you go. And then we can revisit this. And if you want me to do, it's
Love
Stan,
to have
right?
you.
Do you call him Stan?
Yeah. Stan and Brian both are fantastic. You'll have a great, and your people really like them. They look better and they're smarter than I am. So they're great.
Well, you're pretty smart. I'm telling you right now, I'm actually blown away. You remind me of that LG, the guy that wrote The Creature at Jekyll Island, who's
Ed Griffin, my buddy.
Yeah.
Ed Griffin.
Thank you. I was
Ed
having a senior
Griffin.
moment.
Well, Ed Griffin, we're going on Thursday to his meeting celebrating his 90th birthday.
Wow.
He's been endorsing my product since day one, 8 years ago. And he looks better today at 90 than he did it when he was 70 or 82 when I first met him. And he credits his periodontal health, getting off all of his medications, to Cardio Miracle.
I love it, man. Let me ask you one more question, and then I'm going to go surfing and you're going to go get back with your life. For the person like me, that's like kind of obsessive about shit, that like, let's say, just what would it require for me, like, to take it twice a day for a month? What do you recommend? I know you had those big cans at the seminar.
Yeah, we have the 90 serving canisters. You're a single serve guy.
Why is that?
Well, we have stick packs because you're on the run. You're a busy guy and you'll always want to be able to have one in your backpack or your pocket. If you're out surfing and you're taking a break, you may want to pop another one into a water bottle. I tell my triathletes and runners, every other bottle during a race, and it's unbelievable. They have personal bests, and then they recover faster than others. So it's based upon your exertion and what you're trying to accomplish, but you are so in tune with your body that your body will be basically going ding, 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 time for some more Cardio Miracle.
And can you see, I mean, this is a big issue that I hear, and I'm just saying this because it's a big concern to a lot of men. Do you see an increase in testosterone levels when people use this product as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And partially because they're able to be more active. By being more active, and they'll be able to do it. And
yeah, I think that's the big, people are just sedentary these days.
Sure.
And then the 90-day servings, that's not the can.
90-day serving would last most people a month or 45 days. And it's $150 in quantity. Now, just so people know, because many of yours are professionals, we have a professional program. It's very similar to standard, I wanted to say Standard & Poor's.
Standard process?
Standard process. It's very similar to standard process. We do sell on Amazon, but we sell it at full retail. So we protect our professionals. We're not
that's a good thing, because it always looks like we're gouging people when that doesn't happen.
We actually use Amazon as a validation and a default channel. And so, but it's not our primary function. Our function is we have super affiliates. We have people like Ty Bollinger, G. Edward Griffin, Jim Tempo, people like yourself, Cal Jam, et cetera. And then we have a professional program for those who want to carry it in their office. We have osteopaths and chiropractors that make an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month selling the best product in the world and having unbelievable results with their people, measurable results with the blood markers and the other things that they're testing with people.
Man. And it's got a 60-day guarantee. So what you got?
Money back guarantee. And seriously, but what happens? I'll tell you, it's interesting, Billy. A lot of times people say, "Well, I don't know if it's really working for me," and I say, "Hey, go off it for a week and give me a call." They call me. they call.
Oh, you get them addicted, huh? That's how it works.
Well, see, nitric oxide with our product, it stays in your body about 72 hours. Yeah. Well, at the end of 72 hours, you go back to feeling like you used to feel, but you'd forgotten how bad you used to feel.
Right. It's the same thing. They say that about chiropractic. I go, I heard once you go, you got to go for the rest of your life. I go, what's wrong with that? I mean, the thing is, if you feel great, why wouldn't you want to continue doing it?
People say, how long do I have to take it? I said, you don't ever have to take it. If you want to live well, you want to take it.
If you want to feel like shit, you don't have to take it.
Exactly. If you'd like to lose a leg to diabetes, then stop taking it. But if you like to keep your faculties, then you might want to do it. And seriously, I'm really excited about. We're in the process of doing some work. I hope by the end of next year to show the link between dementia and Alzheimer's, because I believe
it's going to be huge.
It's all microcapillary.
Oh, I know it is, bro. It's type 3 diabetes, bro, is what it is. We all know that. It's a microcirculation issue.
So you understand that. And I love talking to smart people with passion. People are trying to change the world, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change the world.
No, we're not. That's one word you got to get out of your vernacular.
Improve the world.
we are changing the world, because if you say trying to, when people say that to me, I go, trying is lying. You're not, you got to 100% feel it, put that into the universe.
Well, we are.
Yeah,
and you're
I know.
right,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, but but that was actually one of the great things about the Truth About Cancer with Mike Adams. Mike Adams said 5 years ago, there were 5% of us. Now it's 50%. We're winning this fight.
You're right.
And it's guys like you, Billy DeMoss, who are making a huge difference. And I thank you for your leadership, your passion, your effort, because we all need to link arms and make this happen to bring the human condition into being aware, educated, and proactive in taking care of their own health, not being herded like sheep to the slaughterhouse.
And that's going to happen. It's going to happen this fall. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but those of us that get it aren't going to be selected out of the gene pool, because we're not blind. We see what's reality. And it's so sad that people are being coerced into the big V word. Which to me is just a death sentence for most people, but we don't need to go there now.
That's a whole nother hour. We can talk about all of the research that nitric oxide does and has been proven through autopsies and clinicals that it helps heal the damage of the spike protein from the pathogen, helps with healing the aspect of even those who unfortunately made the decision, which hopefully that they didn't, but those who did make the decision to get injected. Your best fight against the spike protein is nitric oxide. I can't say
so we'll have that
product.
discussion next. We'll prime them with this one, and then I want to come back and do that, because that's what everybody's looking for now. They got coerced to keep their job to do this, and everybody, was there anything I could do? And I really don't have anything to tell them that they can do, because there really isn't anything that's been out there that made any sense that would improve that.
One last thing, Billy, that might be important. Dr. Christian Northrup, who's one of the great fighters. Christine, she has been endorsing my product for 2 years. She said, John,
she was supposed to speak at our next event in December, but we're going to push it back till next. She's amazing.
She's a jewel, but I met her a couple of years ago, and she said, I wrote a book about nitric oxide. I know how important it is for women. I know how important it is for health. She said, and you finally helped connect the dots with something that helps raise the nitric oxide. So she's one of our greatest advocates in the country. So, what an honor for me to have people like her, G. Edward Griffin, Ty Bollinger, Robert Scott Bell, and now maybe Dr. Billy DeMoss.
No, not maybe. I'm in your boat, bro. And let me ask you one more question, then we're going to wrap it up. You just mentioned a book by Christine. What's the name? Because I'm a bookivore. I just love to eat books up.
It was one of her first books written like in 2010 about, maybe it was A Goddess at Any Age or something. I don't actually know. All I know is that she devoted a majority of the book to the value of nitric oxide under Dr. Christine Northrup. And she's amazing, but she is a huge advocate. I've done numerous webinars with her, and she is, she takes it herself. She has her staff taking it. She gives it to her family. She has advocated it to all of her thousands and thousands.
What about pets too?
Well, that's funny you'd say that, because at the Truth About Cancer, I met with 2 different veterinarians who want to talk about this. We'll take a few of the sweeteners out just because.
Yeah.
Because, and we'll probably put in some lamb taste or something, or grass for the horses. No, years ago, there were people who have actually used some of the conventional nitric oxide products for wound healing and for surgical for racehorses. So that's another whole area.
Well, then you got all the people in the cosmetic surgery world that could benefit from it too, right?
Well, I have a cosmetic surgeon who has seen all kinds of amazing things happen, even from tissue being removed and things where there was no circulation before, that all of a sudden in a couple of days there's circulation. So yes, there are so many applications of this.
Dude, we could talk for like 5 hours. You know that? All right.
Well,
I just want to say I love you, man. It was divine intervention that I met you at Truth About Cancer, which was an amazing event. If you weren't there, you weren't there. I mean, you can watch it virtually, but it's not the same as being in the environment with a bunch of 2,000 people.
It was there.
I mean, I've been telling people that's one of my favorite events I've spoke at. I mean, for me to get out of, I mean, I've always speak at chiropractic stuff, and for me to get out with the general public is really refreshing because we already know what we know in chiropractic. It's not like I'm revealing anything, but I don't think a lot of people understand the true value of chiropractic for what it really is, the essence of chiropractic.
No question.
But then if you can augment the nervous system by better blood flow and the brain by better blood flow, and you can improve performance and oxygenation of the body, it's a win-win-win all the way around. And I'm super sold on the product. I'm kind of like, I'm worried I'm going to run out before I get my next fix. So
I'll make sure she gets it down to you. But one of the things about our chiropractic friends, one of the, a large part of their practice is supplementation. And I know that. And so, but one of the things that the value we bring is this is a product that has 70-80% retention of use from the customer. So a person can eliminate a lot of their inventory. They can eliminate a lot of that. We allow people to buy a case at a time. We give them a great situation. They can either send people on a website. We're just getting of chiropractors, but it's really exciting for those, because let me just say this, and this is not patronizing. Chiropractors got a bad rap. I loved what Jeff Hayes did when he did his film Doctored. I thought that was the greatest thing ever for chiropractors and the war that they fought for legitimacy. I've had Dr. Craig Bueller and Dr. Craig.
Oh, I know Craig. That's awesome. Yeah.
Do you know Craig Frogley?
No, I know Craig Bueller. He was in the movie. What movie?
Craig Bueller.
Yeah.
Well, Craig Bueller. Craig Bueller was my chiropractor who fixed my shoulder from laying out and catch the Thanksgiving Bowl touchdown pass when I was 2 years old, and I was immobilized for a year. And so Craig Bueller and I was front row of the Utah Jazz for about 20 years, and he was the chiropractor who kept Karl Malone and John Stockton healthy for 20 years. And so Craig and I go way, way back, and he's a great practitioner. And so I've always been a huge fan of the chiropractic world, but I know that chiropractors have hundreds and hundreds of supplements that they're bombarded by salespeople. But I'm telling you, if they'll try this for themselves, they'll find this can become the cornerstone of their practice that makes everything else work even better.
Love it. All right, brother. You said $150 for like a 90 days or for 90
Well, that's the 90-day, but that's before the discount. But if they go to cardiomiracle.com and use DeMoss15, they can get a discount, or there should be a link put on this, or that we can send out to your list of people, and we make even a little better offer for them to be able to try it, or they can call our 800 number and ask to start talking about being an affiliate as a professional.
Perfect. I love it, man. All right. Rock and roll, my friend. I'm going to go drink my Cardio Miracle. I'm going to go out, paddle out, get some waves, and get in touch with all my friends in the ocean who haven't screwed up the planet like the dolphins and pelicans and stuff. All right, my friend.
All right, take care. Thanks for having me, Billy.
Oh, it was an honor, and I learned a lot, and it's like, I can't wait to do another one. You put that good looking Stan guy on. We'll get all the chicks on here. Absolutely.
We'll get all the chicks. All right. Talk to you later.